I'm John Hazel, automation expert and business strategist.
And I'm Kevin Miller, software lead and seasoned podcaster.
And this is the Automate and Elevate podcast, where we help you build systems, create leverage, and scale your business.
On today's episode, we're going to talk about how to network effectively. So, yeah, John, you just recently attended I believe it's called the Boulder Startup networking event. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how were you able to effectively leverage your time so as to not just be showing up and talking just to talk? How are you able to make connections to grow your business?
It's Boulder Startup Week. It's my first time going to it. I had just heard about it literally the week before last, and it was all week last week. This is an interesting event because it's an unconventional convention. Like, there's no convention center. It's like spread out through downtown Boulder in Colorado, kind of northwest Colorado, or north anyway, outside of Denver, northwest Denver, and it's pretty cool. You like go, some stuff will be just at a coffee shop, other stuff will be at like just a space that people were able to find, and it's kind of all over the map. But I found some really cool locations, really cool talks, got to meet some great people, and of course, like, one of my objectives is finding new clients, but the thing that I know that I'm going to get out of networking at this kind of place where there's a lot of startup founders is getting to just be inspired and reignite vision and elevate my thinking, because they're all pursuing big things. And so I think that's one of the things I've found most valuable about. I have like a weekly rhythm where I go to a particular event and just talk with other founders. And a lot of times I'm seeing some of the same faces. I always see new faces and get to meet them. Um, and that's here in Colorado Springs called Tech Connect. It's at a place called Exponential Impact. And I don't necessarily go every week, but I have to go at least once a month minimum because I need that inspiration. I need to get around other visionaries. And who knows, someday I might find a co-founder at that or at a place like Boulder Startup Week. You never know who you're going to connect with. I'm hoping to bootstrap all of my companies, but maybe for some people, you might find investors, you might find just mentors. In fact, there was a whole talk that I attended that was about mentorship. It was I have to look up the thing, but they like have a an organization where the whole objective is to like pair you with mentors, and all the mentors are volunteer, and I think the first few sessions are free, something like that. So um, I got to see some pitches, just people talking about their products and their services, and um, introduce some interesting ones. I have like a few follow-up calls over the next couple weeks where I'm getting to get to know some of the founders better, see their products, see if it's a good fit for me. I always just like look around the room and just kind of look at people and meditate on who should I connect with, and I trust my intuition. I go with my gut, and whoever I feel like I should connect with, I talk to them. I ended up meeting a guy who has a quality assurance automation tool to like automate the QA process, and like basically a bot that functions as a user would, and records videos, and then we'll like send a report along with screen recordings. So it's like, okay, that's, I've been curious about tools like that for a long time, and so it'll be good to engage with them and see if that could be a part of my development process. So you never know who you're going to connect with, and I just think you got to get out there and meet people.
So I know typically when people think of networking, they think about procuring clients, but like you mentioned, you're able to meet people who may show you interesting tools or they may be able to share interesting ideas. So like what are some of the things outside of just procuring clients that you're gaining from attending these events?
Yeah, I mean, of course, that's a big one, and I hopefully maybe I will. I made probably a dozen good connections, and I have some follow up. I'm meeting with somebody in person on Tuesday, I think less than a week from today. And so hopefully that'll turn into something. He's a fractional CTO, so there's like a lot of connections. So sometimes maybe it's not directly turning into a client, but maybe you'll connect with somebody that has a really strong network that might end up, leading you to a client. And so you just have to be open minded. At the same time, it's good to be clear and have an elevator pitch. But if you don't, because currently I don't really, because I am offering so many different services and trying to hone in on one particular one that I want to talk about, one particular niche and ICP. And I just was honest with that, honest about that with a lot of people. And it actually created some engaging conversations. I said, they say, what are you working on? And I say, well, I have a web design and web dev agency, but I'm also exploring this and I'm trying to decide if I want to do this. And I just kind of would like be transparent about that. I was like, I'm violating all the principles that I know to be true about being clear in my communication, but this is what it is. And I think people just appreciated that transparency. So if you just say, like, well, this is my background, but I'm really curious about this and this is what I'm working on, you can usually have some good engaging conversation. And if you're not sure and you're not clear, then that might end up being the process to get clear, because you get to verbally process, you get to bounce your ideas off of other people. And a lot of times they're going to help you clarify, because most people want to most people are not like out to get you and shut you down. Most people are like, they just want to know and they're curious and they want to help you find that thing that's going to be the best version of your business.
So I know, like you mentioned, you want to hone in on your own personal pitch to make sure that you're able to present something great to other people. But what are some of the pitches that personally impressed you and made you want to utilize their product? And like, what are you able to take from that and integrate into your pitch?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the thing that sticks out is like hyper niche. Like there was one startup that is literally a pickleball dating app. And it's finding people, it's a dating app, but all you're doing is like matching with people who want to play pickleball. But it's like specifically intended for romantic dating. It is not like, yes, you could like try to find friends on there, but you don't want to be a married person going on there, right? Like it's so I mean that's like hyper niche, right? I mean, granted, pickleball is trending upward big time the last few years, and there's a lot of people playing it. So it's a pretty wide niche. But to choose, pickleball dating specifically, is it's a specific choice. Like she could have gone any direction. But she also, the other lesson there is that she was solving a problem for herself. She like had been in a long-term relationship, and that ended, and she was back on the dating scene and she was miserable. She was like, I don't I don't like this dating game. She's like, I really just want to play pickleball. I just want to have fun, like play pickleball with people, see if it leads to anything. So she did build it for herself first. She on the dating apps, she basically put on her profiles like, only reach out to me if you play pickleball and you want pickleball to be our first date, right? So she like did it in the other dating apps, and then she built a platform dedicated to it, and it seems to be proceeding pretty well. So I think there's two things there, like choose your niche and solve a problem that you want solved for yourself. And it's like these are two pretty obvious things, we kind of all know this, but we just tend to gravitate towards making things very broad, because maybe, for me, it's like walking through the doors of opportunity. Like, oh, I connected with someone, they're looking for somebody who knows technology, who knows websites, and it's like, oh, sure, I can service you. But when I could like pick a specific niche and market and sell hard to that niche, and probably be a lot more successful versus splitting my attention to all sorts of different tech stacks and clients, right?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the difference in approach between you talking to them and then trying to make yourself appeal to their problem versus you coming with a strict, like with the solution already in hand and offering it to them. So like with your approach right now, how do you plan on niching down and making it a more solidified and appealing proposition so that when you do future networking events, they'll know exactly what you offer and you'll be able to sell it to them better?
Yeah, and honestly, I'm like processing that right now and going back and forth with Claude and even processing like the direction of this podcast to align with that. I've had great success with Shopify and Shopify Plus specifically and building apps, building custom apps, building custom themes with Shopify. It's fun. It's the ecom game is like ever evolving, and as a company starts to scale up, um, what you need to do in Shopify when you're just starting out versus what you need to do at a million, 5 million, 10 million, 50 million. Like they're all kind of different things, right? Because you have limited resources, time and money, and you need to do different things with them. So I want to help, when a company is around 10 million in revenue and trying to scale up to 50 million in revenue, or 50 million trying to scale up to 100, like those are the areas I want to really help in. Because I know I've, worked with Ice Barrel for a long time. I know what is required in the ecom and D2C space to scale up. So that's kind of where I'm focusing. Again, like I enjoy all sorts of things in the tech space, and so I entertain the conversations, and if there's like a valuable fit there, I'm open to other engagements. But I think there's a lot of opportunity. And another reason I think like this has been a growing space for the last 20 years, direct D2C, but I think it's going to grow even more because of AI, because like AI is taking over a lot of the mundane things. And so it frees more people up to become entrepreneurs. And I think more people are going to invest in crafts and get sick of, I don't want to name any, but get sick of platforms, posting on platforms and then them taking their cut and all the things you have to deal with selling through other people's platforms. And I think more and more people are going to want to own that for themselves, have their own platform where they can sell. And so I think this space has a lot of room for growth, and I'm excited for it.
So you mentioned that kind of like that 10 to 50 million, and that those are businesses that they have something successful, but now they're in that scaling phase. Now they're replicating that small bit of success. So like what are some of the pillars of growth that someone like you can step in and really help them out on? Like what are some of the tangible solutions that you can offer them to really help them blow up their business?
Yeah, I think hopefully at this stage, if they haven't already, they're starting to move into retail and try to sell stuff through Costco, through Walmart, or like, whatever the product is and the target audience, there are going to be certain retailers that are better than others. But with that comes a whole host of complexities, right? So you've got EDI connections to these retailers. They want an EDI is an old school system before the web and API. I mean, it's not pre-web, but pre-APIs. And so you have to have systems that are connecting with the EDI and connecting that into your Shopify system. Um, you've got the logistical things. Maybe it's like time to say goodbye to the 3PL and it's time to start fulfilling things for yourself. Or maybe your 3PL, maybe you still need a 3PL, but the 3PL you're working with right now can't handle the scale that you're about to hit. There's different levels of 3PLs, and so there's the migration between 3PLs. That's one project. But then there's like, okay, now that we're at this scale, how can we automate and make things extremely efficient with how we're working with this 3PL? Then there's all of just the backend tech systems. Shopify can only handle so much on the like CRM ERP side. And so how is this communicating with your other systems? Have you created a dedicated CRM and or ERP? Have you set that up, and do you have that connected properly to Shopify? There's like a million different ways you can build this stack, but um, starting out when you're small and scrappy and you're just trying to get sales, you could do everything in Shopify basically. In fact, you can vibe code a website in Lovable and have Shopify as the backend, and there's like a direct native connection between Lovable and Shopify. And like when you're getting started, that's amazing, right? But then once you hit the point where you're on Shopify Plus and you're trying to scale, and have you set up upsells yet? Have you set up, the like hopefully at this point you've got the, hey, if you spend 10 more dollars you can get free shipping on this, right? There's like so many more areas where you can increase your conversion, increase your traffic and your exposure by hitting other channels, right? So I obviously just talked about the retail channel, but hopefully you're on the shop app. But are you on TikTok shop, Instagram shop? Are you in these different places? So there's like just a whole host of different things, right? Like, but you've got your marketing, you've got your sales channels, you've got your back end systems, and all of those things need to be set up to scale. And of course, you have to stay also on top of your primary channel, hopefully your website, and making sure that you're maximizing your traffic and conversion on your website.
So to make this like more tangible to the client, if you could paint a really simple picture, what would it look like with you working with them and you bringing this solution to their business? And how do you foresee it transforming somebody's business where they're kind of struggling with these areas? Like, what would be the end result of working with you?
Yeah. I mean, hopefully we're doubling revenue, tripling, quadrupling. We're scaling up your revenue because we're creating the infrastructure that can handle the scale. And then I'm also helping to strategize the marketing and think through how are we going to increase reach from where we're at, depending on the product and service. Again, it's like it really depends on who your target audience is, but is this the kind of product where we need to highly leverage influencers and focus all the marketing spend that direction? Is this the kind of thing where we need to really focus on direct mail? Sometimes it's like, depending on the audience, that's actually going to be the most effective channel. Have we talked about connected TV yet? And do we need to focus attention on that? So it depends on your product, it depends on your target audience, but um, we're going to focus on scaling up however that needs to look.
So do you feel like there's a gap because you just kind of clearly identified your proposition? Do you think there's a gap in between like the way you're marketing it versus now you clarifying it? Like maybe if I market it just like with what you said, you'll be able to get more clients.
Yeah. What's the question exactly?
Because I know right now you're kind of in that phase where you're niching down and clearly um putting forth your proposition. So I
You're talking
know,
about for me, for my business?
yeah, for your business, do you feel like since you just kind of clearly identified what you want to offer, you'll be able to fix that gap between what when you talking to clients, you have something clear to offer them, versus just you know throwing like a million different potential things at the wall.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's about, I mean, and obviously like we're kind of building the business as we're talking, but I think it's a balance between having a clear offering, but asking the discovery questions to
Mm.
know what that client needs. Because even with us, I mean, like I even gave you, we're talking about a specific niche of D2C, right? Which is fairly specific. We could obviously get more specific, and I could say D2C in the health and wellness space that are on Shopify Plus that are between 10 million and 15 million in revenue. And like we could be extremely specific with those metrics. But then it's still, even at that level, there's still going to need to be discovery questions, because most of the time I don't believe in one size fits all
Mhm.
services and products. It's like everybody has specific needs, and so asking the right questions to understand what are the pain points, what are the bottlenecks that are preventing the next level of scale for this business. Like that's where the magic happens, and that's like why I love consulting more than anything else, because I love asking the questions and hitting those light bulb moments, and then developing a strategy of how we're gonna widen that bottleneck, how we're gonna unblock this thing, and then executing on that strategy and seeing the success.
Awesome. Yeah, I think this is a fantastic stopping point before we get out of here. Well, what did you want to leave our audience with before we shut this down?
Yeah, please like and subscribe. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. Um, and hopefully I can help you. But like we talked about before, most importantly, get in a space with people who are going to inspire you, people who are going to give you vision, people who are going to network you to the right people. Um, I like just going on meetup.com and seeing what's available nearby. And then if you start there, you'll start to connect with people and hear about these different events. It's also not a bad idea probably to create a Google alert. This is just an idea I'm having right now, and I'm probably going to go do it myself right now. But like, I didn't even know about Boulder Startup Week until the week before when I heard about it from somebody else. But if I had a Google alert for Startup Colorado event or something, like however you set that up, so that anytime something comes up, you're the first to hear about it, and you don't miss out on those things. You never know. So there you go. You also got to be willing to travel a little bit. I had to drive, almost 2 hours away
Mm.
to attend this thing. So,
Oh,
and
wow.
I did it 2 days in a row. So,
So
you
yeah,
know,
you mentioned connect with you on LinkedIn. What should they search on LinkedIn, and what is the URL of the website also that they can reach you at?
yeah, you can find me, John Hazel, on LinkedIn. Um, Automate and Elevate podcast is the name of this podcast. So if you search that on YouTube or any platform, Spotify. Um, and then my website is hazelize.com. That's hazelize.com. It's my last name as a verb.
Awesome, man. We'd like to thank everybody for joining us and tuning in. We'll catch y'all next time.